Hello everyone, welcome to video recording part 3 of online Zoom session by Project Professional on Project Transformation Value Improvement by Joe Essenburg from Stroud International, Canada.
Hi, Joe.
Yep.
This is Arun here from PMT KNPC.
Yeah.
I have a question. In your presentation, you told that the best way for the project at the time of engineering, we have to evaluate every aspect to save our cost. Am I right?
Yeah, it's in a way. What you can do early in engineering is basically that's the best time to identify everything. Now, not everything's going to be accessible.
Okay.
Not everything's going to be accessible to
Correct.
evaluate right then, but your biggest levers are still going to be in play. That's
Okay, very good.
Yeah.
I got your point. My question is only one. If I did some mistake in my engineering time, which was acceptable to licensor,
Yep.
acceptable to contractor, acceptable to client, and the time when we are going for the execution, there was a failure by that. The contractor asked to us for the change request. Who will be at that change request? My question is clear, or I can rephrase it.
You're saying who would own the change request?
Yeah, who will bear that change request? Contractor is saying this is not my fault. Licensor is saying this is at the time of as-of study, at the time of engineering, and client is also very correct on his position. See, boss, this is the problem which I am facing to start my unit. And of this engineering.
All this stuff happens all the time, and it drives people nuts. It's a really great question. And I remember on the WhatsApp chat, we had a really good chat about how to handle a situation like this.
I will come to the example. Recently, last week, we have faced this, and change request amount is too high.
Yeah.
And my contractor is claiming that KNPC should.
But
can you help me? How I can benefit it to my company?
Yes, I can help you. Honestly, that's where as far as just giving a blanket answer, it's very difficult to do that without knowing how all the contracts were set up. And you would need to know all the contracting relationships, the incentives, the bonus, whose responsibility is where. I would want to see the RACI chart for that. But that said, if everything was acceptable and it was accepted, and then later on it was a change, oh gosh, who owns it? I mean, I can't. How is it discovered? And what are the contractor's responsibilities? Because naturally, we all want to make the contractor responsible, but they're going to say, no way, I need a change order. What my basically, as far as navigating through the contractual, I've worked with many project teams to do that. It's honestly, it's not the bread and butter of what Stroud does, but it does come up. And so the bread and butter of what Stroud would do is, if there were a change order, is how do we work together with the full integrated team, all the people involved, to make sure that it's the right amount and the lowest amount. Like, that's what you're saying, is the contractor came back with a number and the number's too big, so we need to go back and fix it. That's where partnering with that team, the typical role Stroud would play there, or that I'm used to, is, okay, well, let's catch up with the contractor. We all know we need to do the project. We all know we need to make it work. We're all on the same team here. Let's understand exactly what the change is, how it was calculated, and then apply these principles to find what the most effective either change and associated cost is that everyone can align around. Like, that's the thing, is if the contractor feels they're just being squeezed, like, hey, it costs too much, it needs to cost less, they're just going to dig in their heels and say, what? No, it actually should cost more. What are you talking about? Like, that's where you need to have that environment where there's a culture where we can look at the opportunities and get alignment together around what the best solution is. And that, you have to build that trust. So that's, I don't know if that fully answers your question, but I know how I'd approach it. And I would understand exactly, basically, is there padding being put into that estimate, and can we explore that in a way that's not threatening to the contractor, if that makes sense. So, but it is tricky. Yeah, those are always complex problems to work through. Everyone has to work through them. Like we all have to do it.
Yeah. Okay, Joe. Thanks.
But yeah, usually it comes up, it's like not making the relationship adversarial, is trying to make it collaborative and there being an integrated team. Sure. Like on projects that have gone through a value improvement exercise like this, typically whether it's an EP or an EPCM, typically they're very involved from the get-go along with the owners, or many of them are joint ventures. And so all the partners are involved on either a daily or weekly basis with representatives. And so that's how decisions like these have to be made, is everyone needs to be party to it. Everyone needs to be aligned so that you can do it. Otherwise, yeah, the team might decide, oh, hey, this design that's 50% less is good to go. And then the contractor looks at it and says, no, I didn't agree to that. So they have to be involved.
Yeah. Okay, Joe, I agree with you. But in that way, this is a do or die situation for a client. We have to go with the contractor's proposal, and we can negotiate. Okay, don't ask for 100, just give me some relaxation. Now, contractor ball is in the contractor's court. Correct. Yeah, and so he will play with that one.
And that might be the best you can do, again, without knowing the people, without knowing the culture and how the contracts were set up. Maybe that's the best you can do. Maybe there is opportunity for more, but yeah, it could be evaluated. But yeah, I wish you the best. Those are always complex.
Thanks, Joe. Thanks from my side. Okay.
Yeah.
My question is that, for example, you said the idea has to come out at any stage, and that irrespective, at what stage the project is. But there remains a situation in every organization, in every setup, where there are people who are always remain offended with any idea being put on the table because there is a credit fight. I'm talking about an individual effort, not an organization, a contractor, PMC, no, as an individual effort. So in that case, what should be the key dimensions when I believe that there is an idea which has an improvement, but let me test myself before I put it on the table. So, what should be my preparation in this regard, so that when I am on the table, I should be prepared for all the dimensions. So what are those dimensions which I must be there so that I don't turn out to be stupid? Let's see this.
Either so that you don't seem stupid or they don't end up seeming stupid.
Yeah.
With this, yeah. And to me, the way I've seen this approached and the way I prefer to approach it is from starting with what's the common ground, where are we all aligned, what are we all driving towards, and then getting at what are the mindsets leading us to believe what we each believe. Because to both to you and to the hypothetical person you're describing, what they believe is valid to them. And so then it's a question of how do we open up the environment to where we can explore with a mindset of maybe there is opportunity there, like maybe there isn't. Acknowledge that their belief may be valid. Maybe for all we know, it's the truth. But can we at least evaluate it? And it's tricky because it's a cultural shift, and it's a mindset shift. So how we typically approach this with clients is leading off with a workshop that focuses exactly on what mindsets and assumptions is everyone bringing into the project. Let's understand them. Let's recognize them, that they're valid. And at the same time, let's all align for an exercise like this that we're going to look at opportunities. And that doesn't mean anything is bad or anyone wasn't doing their job. That's where typically when I'm working with a project, I have the luxury of there's been an exercise defined trying to accomplish something, but this always comes up on the team members. And so it goes back to finding the common ground and then exploring the mindsets leading to people to believe what they believe, and then healthily challenging them in a non-threatening way. And so that's where through coaching and through a structure and through expectations and working with individuals, say for a couple weeks, that's where I've seen someone be able to get through the challenge you're describing. But in the absence of that, it is tricky because someone can feel threatened. So again, it's start with the common ground, and then understand what's driving their belief, and then try to clearly articulate your belief that's not contrary to theirs necessarily. It's just saying, hey, what would you think about this? If they say, oh, that's a terrible idea, I hate it, it's like, okay, well, at least you know that. But try to get to a point to where there is some curiosity is the best I can say without setting up an exercise and without setting up the structure and coaching to work through that. So, but again, it comes up all the time, and it's a trickier thing to work through. And that's why I say improving a project is half analytics and half psychology. And so you're speaking to exactly the core of the psychology piece.
Yeah, I agree. Okay.
Yeah.